our commitment to our veterans is a sacred covenant. Those who put on the uniform, you took an oath to protect and defend us. While the rest of us, the citizens you kept safe, we pledge to take care of you and your families when you come home.
President Obama almost a month ago pledging before the DAV to take care of veterans and their families once the vets return. Unfortunately, more evidence that there may be a long way to go. A 76-year-old veteran commits suicide in the VA parking lot after being denied health care continues to raise questions about the VA and its care for veterans. Peter Kaysen was the name of the veteran. He was a Navy gunner and a policeman found dead in that parking lot of a VA center on Long Island with a single gunshot wound to his head. Apparently, he had been turned down for coverage in the emergency room. Doctors had told him earlier in the year there was nothing more they could do to ease his suffering from back pain. For more on this, let's welcome from Newsmax Washington, my former congressional colleague, himself a veteran of the first Gulf War, Michael Patrick Flanagan. Today, Mike is the president of Flanagan Consulting, and you can read his blog concerning the campaign and other things at flanaganconsulting.com. Mike, we really do appreciate your time here. And before I get your comments, let's listen to Tom Farley, a friend of Peter Kaysen.
You know, you're already depressed, and you go for help, and somebody says no, or, you know, I haven't got time for you right now. You just sulk away because, you know, you haven't got the strength in you at that point to fight it. My friend went to the VA for help, and he didn't get it, and that was his last resort.
So, another veteran taking his own life, the frustration, you know, and here's the paradox. Mike, you're an Army veteran. We put our military in motion at the Pentagon, and things seem to be accomplished. But then with the Department of Veterans Affairs, with health care, things continue to lag behind. What is it going to take to make the necessary changes?
It's going to take a president who's actually committed to the words Obama used. He's not committed to that. He just isn't. It's a hole in his budget that he'd sooner see go away. The Congress gave the Veterans Administration the power to fire virtually everybody, overriding all sorts of union rules and other stuff. They fired no one, almost no one. They've made no changes. They want to make no changes. They've installed a bunch of payrollers over there over the last 8 years, and they don't want to give those jobs away. It doesn't matter how good or bad they do. The point is that the senior officials don't care how good or bad it is. They make noises about it, but they really don't care. Now, you can go to all kinds of reasons why that might be. They just dislike the military because they're lefties, or they're really good Democrats and they know most military guys are a little right of center, or maybe it's just they just don't care because it's not in their realm of experience. I don't know what it is, but time after time, day after day, year after year, day in, day out, they manifest an amazing indifference to the horrors that are going on at the Veterans Administration, and we have to just put up with it because the mainstream media never holds them up to any ridicule over this.
You mentioned the rhetoric of President Obama. It is worth noting that on the campaign trail, Donald Trump has spoken decisively. Here he was in front of the veterans of foreign wars about a month ago.
The VA scandals that have occurred are widespread and totally inexcusable. As we know, many have died waiting for care that never came.
And so there is Donald Trump pledging to make a difference, and of course he has a record of business success. Tell you what, let's welcome in a caller from America's heartland. The sunflower state of Kansas is where we find George tonight. George, welcome to Newsmax Prime.
Thank you, JD. Pleasure to talk to you.
Good to have you, sir.
I want to go back. I have a cousin that retired from the VA, and there are some good ones around. But being said, I want to go back to your three guests before. I think with the welfare programs we have, and I'm not just talking about any one community, I'm talking about anybody that's on welfare. I think what we ought to do is keep the welfare, have them get jobs, then taper the welfare out over a period of years. Let's give these people a foot up. Let them get on their feet and do something good.
You know, you mentioned that, George, and Mike Flanagan, that's what we put together with welfare reform, but your fellow Chicagoan got rid of it in his so-called economic rescue package, his stimulus package, correct?
Yeah, that's right. We had welfare to work. That was part of the law, was that we would not only give you job training, but we required that some level of work be accomplished, and we'd help you make that last mile in your bills so that you could live a decent life. That was the whole idea of welfare, was to be an assistance, not a way of life. But Obama got rid of that because you got to buy votes, and when you buy votes, you need the people's cash to do it with.
And of course, it doesn't hurt if you get a lot of free advertising. One of my friends has said the largest in-kind contribution to the Democratic Party comes from the dominant media culture. With that in mind, let's welcome in another guest in this segment, the Vice President of Business and Culture at the Media Research Center, Dan Gainor. Dan, last night was a perfect example of just the lengths to which the mainstream media will go in supporting Hillary Clinton. Both candidates went after the other yesterday on the topic of racism and bigotry, but let's take a listen to how the alphabet networks reported it.
Now to the race for president at a dark 24 hours. Donald Trump calling Hillary Clinton a bigot. Late today, Clinton taking the stage and firing back. And Donald Trump just a short time ago pressed to explain why he thinks she's a bigot. You'll see how he responds.
Going after Trump point by point, his birth or past.
Why doesn't he show his birth certificate?
He promoted the racist lie that President Obama is not really an American citizen.
His retweets of white supremacists or theories about Clinton's health.
Your team at the Media Research Center put that clip together. This coverage and the different way the alphabets play it, is there any way Donald Trump battles back on this thing?
Well, I mean, Donald Trump has defied the rules throughout the primary process. Every Republican who's run, probably in our lifetime, has encountered media resistance, media abuse. You look back at the Romney campaign where the media actually used his faith against him. You go back to 1960 and the media were urging people to treat John F. Kennedy, who was Catholic, treat him special. But John F. Kennedy was a liberal Catholic. Mitt Romney happened to be a conservative Mormon, and that's what hurt him. The media basically have it in for anybody who disagrees with them. So, Trump has taken a more aggressive stance than other candidates have done. We'll see how that works out. But right now, I think it's running the risk for the media of going too far. You've got people like Univision's Jorge Ramos, who's flat out saying that the media should be biased. You've got the New York Times running the Rutenberg column above the fold, saying the New York Times, which is already left-wing and biased, should be more so. I think the American public isn't stupid, and sooner or later is going to really resent this.
Well, gentlemen, it's pretty interesting when someone from overseas has that analysis. The founder of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, showed up on Fox News, and he takes a look at the mainstream media here. He says it's politicized. Let's listen.
I would like to believe that no media organization in the United States would not have published the DNC emails. But I don't think that's true, actually. I think MSNBC wouldn't have published them. I think the New York Times wouldn't have published most of them. And that's sad. There's incredible politicization in this election of the media.
Michael Patrick Flanagan, you hail from Chicago. You work there in Washington. When you hear someone like Assange say the media is politicized and there's an exemption for the elite left, what's your reaction to that?
He's right, but it's worse now than it ever has been, and here's why. They've stepped over from being intellectual leftists, from being left-wing crazies, and actually stepped into partisan democratic politics. They're partisan hacks now. They've left the realm of believing in socialism or collectivism or government intervention or confiscation of wealth, all the other things that lefties truly believe in. They've left that behind. I'm not even sure they think that anymore. They're team players for the Democrats now. That's really what it is. And that's what's really appalling about it. And I think our friend is right that it's going to go too far. And people are going to look over and say, wow, this is just crazy. And
Well,
it is just crazy.
We will see if that backlash comes. It's not a reaction to your comments, Mike, but we appreciate it and want to thank you as you go gently into that good night. We will have you back soon. Dan Gainor, we want you to stick around because there are some other examples of media bias that we need to get to in your oversight there at the Media Research Center. Also ahead, coming up on the program, something we call News of the Weird. Our good friend Ed Berliner has been looking at all the different stories that have crossed his desk, and he has Outland for us. It's probably a good way to end the week. And so we'll have more with Dan Gainor and a gander at Outland. We hope you'll stay tuned to us as we continue here on Newsmax Prime.